Today's program is sponsored by The Anthony Vincent Salon. Say hello to beautiful.
Fashion, music, wellness.
And don't forget sex.
Mostly sex.
If it's trending, they'll be talking about it. Trend Radio is right here.
Right here and right now. I'm Anthony Vincent.
And I'm Elise.
And we always have something great to say.
Because it's us. So stay tuned.
You'll be glad you did. Good morning, Elise.
Good morning, Anthony.
Good morning, Mike. How you doing?
Hi,
Good
Mike.
morning. Good. It's a joyous morning.
It
It is a joyous morning. That's fantastic to say that. Because
Thank
you
you.
know what? It's just about Christmas time.
This is our holiday show.
This is our holiday show.
And we have a tremendous guest with us again.
And when we say tremendous, it's not because he's so big, but he's big in spirit.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's our very own Santa Claus.
He is.
Yes, he is. And he brings joy beyond to me and to so many.
And he's going to be sharing some Christmas stories.
Fantastic stories. Yeah, he wrote these stories himself. They're his experience, and they've been published. You know, and that's what's so nice.
And they are beautiful stories.
Beautiful. I just sit there in awe listening to him.
Yes. And he's going to be with us a little bit later today.
Yes.
And today is our holiday show. Happy holidays. Wait a minute. No, not happy holidays. We are not politically correct here.
No, it's Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
Merry freaking Christmas to everybody out there. Thank you for joining us today. And Elise, what is Hanukkah?
Hanukkah, a.k.a. the Festival of Lights.
Yeah.
Hanukkah begins on the 25th Kislev of the Jewish calendar.
What is a Kislev?
You know, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it's a day. And Hanukkah celebrates two miracles.
That's right. The great Jewish military victory and a miraculous supply of oil for the temple.
Yes. You know, the Maccabees, they only thought there was going to be enough oil to light that candle, light everything and give them light for one day. But what a miracle. 8 days that oil burned. And that is the reason why the menorah has 8 candles.
Oh, so one candle lit on the first night, 2 on the second night?
Well,
Until all 8 candles?
The way the menorah is lit, it's one candle is continuously burning. And then the other candles are lit, and it's a total of 8 candles. The center candle is it depends on how the menorah is actually set up. But there's one candle that gets lit for the first night, and then that candle will stay lit, and then you add another candle for each night.
How nice.
It's a beautiful religious ceremony. It's beautiful. Yeah, I have many different menorahs. Over the years, we've collected them, and they're beautiful.
Terrific. So Hanukkah is a time to celebrate with family and friends, to eat holiday treats, to give gifts.
Potato pancakes.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about, a jelly donut.
and to give gifts, especially to your co-host.
Oh, don't you worry about a thing. My Jewish co-host needs some gifts. I'll give you 8 gifts this year, okay, for Hanukkah.
Alrighty.
That's the way Hanukkah works. It's a gift a night. But, or sometimes people get a bunch of gifts each night. They celebrate for 8 nights. We never did it like that, I thought that was ridiculous.
Yeah, I'll take all my gifts in one night. I would love that.
No, I'm going to give you something every day for holiday, to celebrate your Judaism.
Thank you. All I really need is your love every day. That's all I need.
Well, you have that 352 days a year, so,
And do you know the legend of Santa Claus?
I don't know the legend, but I would love to. I love Santa Claus.
Okay. December 6th. That was the celebration for the Feast of St. Nicholas.
St. Nicholas, yes.
And St. Nicholas was a 4th century bishop of Myra. That's a small Greek province, not a dancer that we met in that club the other day. Anyway, this bishop, St. Nicholas, his reputation for piety has inspired the legend of Santa Claus. You see, the tradition of leaving
the gifts for the children
on St. Nicholas Day, December 6th.
Oh, and so then how did it become then December 25th?
Well, it spread to North America with Dutch immigrants, and the Catholic Church kind of decided that
it was going to be the 25th of December?
Yes.
Oh, it's interesting. That's my grandmother's birthday.
Was she Catholic?
No, but that didn't matter. Everybody was off that day, so it was perfect. We were able to celebrate her birthday on Christmas Day. And, sometimes Hanukkah would kind of flow through Christmas Day, and sometimes it was before, and sometimes it was after. You know how that works with the Jewish calendar, the Kislev. But yeah, we would always celebrate and have such a joyous celebration, until of course she passed. And then that was the end. You knew her, Millie.
Yes, I loved Millie.
Yeah.
And, so now we celebrate her life.
Oh, absolutely. With potato pancakes.
That's right. Mm-hmm. With a little applesauce and sour cream.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. I have her recipe. I'll make you some.
Beautiful. Beautiful. New Year's.
Oh, New Year's Eve. Nothing like it. New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. Taking in the
Lots of alcohol?
Oh, always. But the nice part about the new year is whatever's gone on, good or bad, in this year, now next year, it's a beautiful thing. We get to start over.
That's right.
So if we've had, some turmoil or some uncomfortable anything, it doesn't matter. It's a new year. Start over, start fresh. Rejoice in the fact that we can continue.
That's right. That's right. Do you know the American custom of kissing at midnight? Do you know what that is all about?
I don't know for sure, but I will guess. It's just, I would think that it would just show that you're with someone and your plan is to stay with that someone and be with that someone. I don't know for sure exactly what that means.
Well, for sure, kissing at midnight is a tradition that ensures your relationship will flourish during the upcoming year. Is it flourish or flourish?
Flourish.
Okay. Do you know in
Okay. All right. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that makes sense to me.
Me too. And there's a lot of really neat traditions around the world, like Brazil. Do you know in Brazil, the color of your underwear you wear on the first day of the year has meaning?
I didn't know that.
Yes, I didn't think anybody in Brazil wore underwear. But
okay, so let me ask you something. So if you wear pink panties, what will that bring?
Love.
Aww.
Yes.
And if you wear, I don't know, yellow panties, what will that bring?
Prosperity.
Oh, okay. And
peace and happiness you want.
For white?
Of course.
Okay, so then let me ask you this.
I knew a girl,
what if you wear
her name was Annie, only wore white panties, cotton.
Yeah. You told me that story about Annie.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, but let me just ask you, what if you wear a pair of black lacy panties?
That means you're getting laid.
Ay. Okay. All righty.
At the stroke of midnight.
Got it.
So, guys, you got to time it. You got to time it just right.
Okay.
I thought this one was really cool. In Spain, people put 12 grapes into a wine glass at midnight, and the grapes represent the months of the old year.
Oh, so what happens with the grapes? Do you eat them as you drink?
Well, what you do, the new year at the stroke of midnight, everyone toasts with their glass of wine with the 12 grapes.
Okay.
And then the grapes are eaten one by one, making a wish on each one of the grapes.
Oh, I love this.
Isn't that great?
You know what? I'm going to do this.
I think it's cool.
I think we should do this. Okay. And you know what? Because it's, winter, grapes might not be in season. They might be not fantastic. Maybe we can do them with like blueberries or something, or frozen cherries.
Or strawberries. We could use champagne.
Any kind of frozen fruit. I think it would just be fantastic, and have it in our wine, kind of make like a sangria kind of thing.
Sure.
And then just have 12 pieces though. And each month we'll make, because each month is different, so you can have a different piece of fruit.
That's right.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And in Italy, there's a couple.
We'll make our
really,
own traditions.
In Italy, and my grandparents brought this over, and I can't believe I still follow this tradition on New Year's. It's so silly. You do not eat any chicken or type of bird.
Yes,
Day.
because you'll be scratching. You'll be scratching for money.
That's
yes.
right. Oh, you know this?
Yes, I do. I know this.
Are you Italian?
Some think so.
Okay.
But that's not the point. We've been talking about this for years. You actually did tell this to me.
I did.
Yes. Now, for me, that's not going to be an issue because you know that I'm a vegetarian at this time in my life. But I remember you said, don't eat chicken the next day. Don't eat chicken or turkey. Do not do it.
Any kind of bird. Any kind of bird.
You don't do it. And I'm like, I will not eat a bird the next day. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, the other tradition that I've been doing ever since I've been on my own is I put a dollar bill under the mat of my front door. And so, and it has to be facing...
Going
in.
Or coming in.
Coming in. It has to be facing coming in so that you will always have money coming into the house.
So that means when you look outside, when you look down, the dollar should be
facing you.
Facing you.
As it was a person, like as George Washington.
Yes, and that's his face. Okay.
That is his face.
And you put that underneath your
mat of your front door.
Okay. Oh, I love that.
Isn't that great?
That's fantastic.
I have been doing that all of my life.
I am going to do that this year. That's fantastic. Everybody
Cool.
do that, okay?
Yes.
I want everybody to be, flourishing with money this year. Abundance is huge.
Abundance.
Absolutely.
That's right. These traditions, they all stem from a similar belief that by ending the old year with respect, we establish our intentions for the new year.
Fabulous.
Whether or not we watch the ball drop, in Times Square, we set off firecrackers, we clink champagne glasses, or bang pots with a wooden spoon.
Okay, I don't do the pots.
Well, it doesn't matter. We're all acknowledging an important transition and welcoming a fresh start. So everyone, may your new year be rich with all of the blessings you deserve and desire.
Well, absolutely. We want everybody to have an abundant, happy, and healthy new year.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So happy New Year, Elise. Happy New Year, Mike. And...
Happy New Year to you too as well.
And happy New Year to all our faithful listeners out there.
And I'm going to say a very happy and healthy New Year to you, Anthony.
Thank you so very much.
And of course to you, Mike, and to everyone here at the station, and to all of our friends and family and listeners. We wish you only the best. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, happy Hanukkah, and anything that you celebrate. Happy everything.
Need a salon that's about the whole you? Precision haircuts, flawless makeup, impeccable nails, top-rated professional hair products. Anthony Vincent Salon. Looking for a hairstylist who has his finger on the pulse of all the latest trends? Anthony Vincent Salon. Looking for a dependable salon with over 35 years in the industry? Anthony Vincent Salon. Looking for New York City and internationally trained stylists that will create the perfect look for you? Anthony Vincent Salon. Shine brightly while walking down the aisle. Anthony Vincent Salon. For longer, thicker, beautiful hair extensions, Anthony Vincent Salon. Incredible makeup applications for weddings, proms, or any special occasions. Anthony Vincent Salon. Have dry, brittle summer hair? Get a hot shot. Anthony Vincent Salon. Before you put a ring on it, manicure it. Anthony Vincent Salon. Your image is their specialty. For the 150,000 hairs on your head, there's only one choice. Anthony Vincent Salon. For a more beautiful you, call now 609-448-2212 and follow them on Twitter.
Elise, we have a very special guest today.
I know.
And someone that we do love very, very much.
Very much.
From Drew University in Madison, New Jersey. He is retired. He was the Dean of Libraries for over 14 years.
I know this too.
Yeah. And
oh my God, I can't even handle it. Let's toot
his horn a little bit.
Oh my God.
Because he's not going to do it himself. We have to do it.
Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't do that. All right, keep tooting.
All right. He has 3 master's degree.
He's amazing.
Yeah. 2 from Princeton Seminar.
Yeah.
And he's got
Seminary.
one. Yeah, seminary. And one. and one from Rutgers, and he got his PhD at Drexel University in Philadelphia.
He's amazing.
Been published in the New York Times
over and over and over again.
And he's a
normal guy.
A regular guy.
I know.
A regular
You can
guy.
have a great conversation with him, which I would like to have with him.
And he is walking in the door right now.
And welcome, Andy Scrimger.
Hey,
Thank you so much for coming today.
Here's the best part. Can you believe this? Everybody out there listening, listen to this. Andy lives in North Carolina and flew in for our show. How amazing is that?
Yes, he did. And he brought us peanuts.
Yeah, gourmet peanuts.
Yeah. Now, tell our listeners the deal with the peanuts.
Why peanuts?
Yes.
Because in our new niche of the world, they argue as to who has the best peanuts. You go into the grocery store down there, and there are many companies competing for the peanut clientele, and there are peanuts of every kind, every seasoning that you can imagine. But they'll say, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, who has the best? Well, I'm from North Carolina now, so I'm, saying they're the best. And so I had to bring some so you could attest to that.
Okay, well, we will, because we love peanuts. We eat them all the time. They're delicious and they're healthy for you, so I'm excited to try these peanuts.
Now, your listenership should not be at all surprised that I came 500 miles to read stories with you. Because why? For 14 years, I drove an hour and a half to get my haircut at Anthony Vincent Salon. That is not a paid advertisement, and I think I held the record consistently. There was somebody else who came almost that. I may hold it for distance and sustained years of that.
Yes, you do, Anthony.
To come 500 miles for Christmas, hey!
And they're doing a great job on your hair out there in the Carolinas.
But you did say tell the new stylist to shorten the top a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But other than that,
It looks
fabulous
great.
haircut. You got great hair.
Yeah, you do have good hair.
And I think you're about 40 years old like me and still have all of your hair.
Well, you know what? You both have more hair than me right now, so that's fantastic.
But, Elise and I thank you so much for going out of your way for us to be
To
on our
record
show
with
again.
us.
And yes.
It's so important to us. We loved last year's show so much, and we're just so honored that you're doing this again with us.
I just want to know, are you going to make us cry again like you did last year?
I think he is.
I don't know. I may cry because Christmas is a time that stirs up such deep memories, and they're good memories and they're sad memories, but they tend to get to the core of who you and your family are. So sometimes you're laughing uproariously, and then other times you're getting the tissues out.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, we look forward to hearing what you have for us today.
So you want my first story?
I absolutely do.
All right. This story is called The Brush Fire. And parents out there, if you have young children, particularly in the 6 to 10 years old, you may want to have a conversation with them after this story, that Andy Scrimger is not necessarily their model for behavior at all times.
Oh, boy.
The holiday season began for me this year when I walked into the entryway of the Stop and Shop and caught the sweet aroma of pine and fir. Instantly, I was transported to my boyhood, that short-lived time when I was small enough to wiggle my way under the fragrant boughs and into the interior life of the magnificent burning bush in the living room to behold the dangling constellations of stars, planets, and angels. We have entered the fragrant, rich, memory-stirring season, but surely the place most redolent in scent and story is the kitchen, especially the kitchen of our grandmothers. My Grandma Scrimger specialized in Scottish pastries, oat cakes, mincemeat tarts, fruit cake, shortbread, and matrimonial cake. It's made with dates, she loved to say. She kept her baking tins in the breakfast nook, The benches were hinged and when lifted revealed wondrous caves for storage. One bench housed the pastry paraphernalia. The other contained the tools with which we distracted ourselves while we waited for something fresh from the oven. Puzzles, checkers, pickup sticks. Do you remember those?
I do.
Pickup
Yes.
sticks, Scrabble, and Monopoly. To work on a puzzle in the cozy alcove within sight of Grandma, measuring, mixing, and muttering, was childhood's serenity. Perhaps Grandma's finest gift to me was sharing her recipes with my mom. Mom didn't excel at the stove, but she won blue ribbons at the oven. And she took pride in reproducing Grandma's handiwork, especially at Christmas. After I left home for college, I was never back for Christmas, save once. But Mom sent Christmas to me. So central to each Christmas was waiting for her package containing all the holiday delicacies. When that parcel stopped coming some years ago, it was the definitive sign that Alzheimer's had closed down the kitchen of my beloved baker. Shopping for Mom's Christmas gift was never a chore. For as long as I can remember, my two brothers and I simply bought her a box of chocolate-covered cherries. Only when we were in our 40s did Mom decide that we were ready to handle the revelation that she had never liked chocolate-covered cherries. Back in grade school days, a drugstore clerk had advised us boys that this confection was a sure winner, and Mom had never had the heart to tell us otherwise. As Christmas approached the year of my second grade, I knew that I needed more than a box of cherries for Mom. I needed to buy a hairbrush as well. It was not just a good idea, it was imperative. And not just any brush, it had to have the best natural bristles as well as a salmon pink bone handle. My resolve had dramatic history behind it. On top of the commode in our bathroom in Hood River, Oregon, sat a large sliding box of diamond wood stick kitchen matches. They were our aromatic torches. Today we have atomizers that provide scents such as spring rain and Hawaiian breeze. But I have yet to hear of one that replicates the scent of our room sweetener, campfire smoke. Like many boys, I was fascinated with fire, and I began some controlled experiments in the throne room. I'm not sure what Freud would have to make of my activity, but I would wad up toilet paper, drop it in the commode, light it with a diamond match, let it blaze briefly, and then flush it down. The sight of the swirling fire and the sound of the crisp sizzle as the rushing water extinguished it was high entertainment. Predictably, the size of the crushed tissue balls grew and grew until the fateful night when the paper swirls completely filled the bowl. As I lit the gossamer tinder, a spectacular blaze billowed up, singeing my eyebrows. I lunged and triggered the flush, but the fire did not retreat into the whirlpool. It splintered into ribbons of flame and floated in all directions. Panicking, I reached for the only firefighting equipment in sight, Mom's hairbrush, and attacked the fairy flames. It took what seemed an eternity, but I was finally successful. Ashes were everywhere. I worked feverishly to clean them up, fearful that the number of times that I was flushing the toilet would catch the ear of Mom or Dad. I was just about done and returning the hairbrush to its place when I noticed with horror that some of the blonde bristles were charred. There was no disguising the telltale black-brown splotches. Undaunted, I ran hot water over the brush. I lathered it with soap. I applied cleanser. I scrubbed it. I doused it. I prayed over it. All to no avail. I was doomed. Then inspiration struck. I needed scissors. I found a pair of manicure scissors in the medicine cabinet and set to work on the scorch ends. Soon I congratulated myself on my transformative barber skills and left the scene of the crime a relieved and reformed pyromaniac. Within the hour, a cry of dismay rattled my uneasy conscience, and I came running. Mom was emerging from the bathroom, hairbrush in hand, demanding to know the identity of the culprit. In the brighter light of the kitchen, the brush did not look pristine. The bristles were pathetically uneven, as though a madman had taken a lawnmower through a flower bed. Under the interrogation skills of my dad, I confessed to the deed and reaped the attention of his belt. So I shopped that December with singleness of purpose. Mom replaced the scorched brush with my Christmas offering, and I was fully restored to her good graces. Curiously, though, she didn't throw the old brush away, but kept it in her dresser. I often wondered why. Over the years, I caught a glimpse of it from time to time when she opened that top drawer. Then it disappeared, about the time that the Christmas baking stopped.
Wow. Beautiful.
Wow. The ending just gave me chills. That was fantastic.
Yeah,
This is a true story?
This is a true.
Yes, you can't make that
This
stuff
is
up.
a true story.
That was fantastic.
fabulous.
I love that. That's one of my favorites. That and this, I love the silver harmonica from last year. I love that one.
Yeah, there's a similar kind of, it's
Feeling.
and it's referring to Mom as she entered into dementia,
Sure.
and things start disappearing along with her.
Beautifully done. Beautifully done.
Yes.
Really fantastic.
Thank you for sharing that with us.
We
That's-
love that.
Yes. You have another one for us.
Of course.
I do.
All right, ready?
This one is called The High Note of Christmas. And it's a story. It's another true story. I'm 12 years old at the end of this story. And it's really one of those stories that you tell in remembering people from the past that you long ago lost touch with, but who made a difference in your life at a critical time. The unsung heroes of your past. So here's the high note of Christmas. Confession is good for the soul, my grandmother used to admonish. So let me confess that for some years, the holiday season has begun with some irritation. Last year was no different. Mid-October, while hunting for halogen light bulbs in Walmart, the public address system began blurting a Muzak arrangement of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and played it non-stop. It probably still playing. Halloween masks and trick-or-treat candy were stacked all around me. Thanksgiving turkeys hadn't even appeared on the flyers next door at ShopRite. And yet, a Christmas tune was in the air. American marketing has no shame, let alone any sense of an orderly progression of the holidays. As a boy, I loved to sing carols. My brothers and I often made a joyful noise unto the Lord as a trio in my dad's churches from the time we were in early elementary school. Our three-part harmony was in the gospel tradition, and the white-haired grandmothers who sat in the second pew were our dependable cheering section. I never developed a solo voice, but it never impeded my singing. Some sing in the shower. I sing when I'm alone and driving. It was a fail-safe technique to keep me awake on treks from New Jersey to Skidmore and Wheaton colleges in Saratoga Springs, New York, and Norton, Massachusetts, where our son and daughter were students. Alone on Route 87, with the volume turned up, the King's College Choir, Sandy Patty and I made music together. And in the late hours, we have startled more than one drowsy toll collector on the New York Thruway. When I was a junior in high school, I decided it was high time to take some voice lessons. So I took my baritone voice to a mezzo-soprano with the San Francisco Opera, who lived in our neighborhood in Petaluma, California, egg capital of the world. Her fees were beyond my lawn mowing means, so I cleaned her bathrooms and kitchen in exchange for Saturday morning lessons. Word got out among my dad's parishioners that I had become a voice student. Almost immediately, Linda Smith asked me to sing at her November wedding. I sang 2 love songs. 9 months later, she delivered twins. Somehow I felt I had played a role in that stunning development. What if I had sung 3 songs? Then Dad asked me to sing a solo at the Christmas service. I selected Mary's Lullaby. Softly and tenderly, I sung sentiments known to all mothers cradling their newborn babies. The song ended with the refrain, "Here in my arms I'll enfold thy head, so slumber and take thy rest." The congregation was moved, but not as deeply as my dad. Back home, he took me aside and delivered the startling indictment. "Son, it is shameful for a man to sing a woman's song." He never asked me to sing again. I had laid an egg at the Petaluma manger. It was the last solo of my brief career, but I did sing that lullaby again some 18 years later as I rocked our son, barely dry, while my wife wrestled her way out of the C-section anesthesia. However, my first church solo was when I was 12, and it had a very different ending. It too was at Christmas and in my dad's church. We lived in Boise, Idaho, and I was still a soprano. Mr. Rice, our pianist, was responsible for the annual Candlelight Christmas program music and asked me to sing a solo. I protested. I'd never sung a solo. Could I enlist my brothers? No, he replied, I want you to sing O Holy Night. It's a solo, not a trio. O Holy Night. I knew it well. It required a voice that could hit some really high notes. I didn't think I could do that, but Mr. Rice was not to be denied. So we began to practice. The piece went just fine, but when we came to the final measures and the score soared to a G above middle C, I broke rank and retreated to the safety of G below middle C. Surely my limited range, now exposed, would release me from the assignment. But Mr. Rice didn't seem at all bothered by my predicament. Let's just keep practicing, he said. So for several weeks we rehearsed, and always the result was the same. I bailed out at the musical climax. On the day of the dress rehearsal, Mr. Rice took me aside and quietly suggested that when I sang that morning, I should just relax, focus on the words, and enjoy the music. Don't even bother to hit the high G today, he counseled. And so I set aside my musical anxiety and entered the drama of the Holy Night. The stars were brightly shining. It was the night of the dear Savior's birth. Suddenly, strangely, wondrously, I slipped out of Idaho's grasp and flew upward. The notes became a starry map guiding my celestial ascent. Higher and higher I rose, surrounded by the angelic host. The brightest star was my destination, and to it I soared and circled effortlessly, and then it was back to terra firma. My buddies were stunned. I was stunned. I had sung O Holy Night, even the highest note. My friends erupted in applause, and I looked over at Mr. Rice. He just sat at the piano, smiling knowingly. The gift Mr. Rice gave me that December has lasted a lifetime. Quiet confidence to do what at times seems out of range, out of league, out of comfort zone. And that quiet confidence, often bestowed by a mentor, teacher, scout leader, coach, pastor, professor, Sunday school teacher, friend, hairstylist, parent, relative, or colleague is the ever-renewing gift I wish for you and your family this blessed season. Shopping centers may harass their customers with ill-timed carols, but I will take my inspiration from O Holy Night as arranged by Mr. Rice.
Beautiful.
We're on the edge of our chairs over here listening to your
Love
stories.
your stories.
Yeah, and it's interesting. "Oh Holy Night" was one of my favorite songs.
It's beautiful. I love anything Christmas music. You know that.
Yeah, when I was a little boy, my mother had an album, and one of the songs on it was "Oh Holy Night," and I used to sing along with the record on the old Victrola. And
Don't do it now.
No, you sure?
Positive, please.
We need some music, right?
Don't do it now. But
Yeah, that's a song that is sung by so many people in all different kinds of traditions, and it's done, formally with orchestras and symphonies, and by pop singers, and in podunk churches. I remember going home with my wife to Western Pennsylvania and attended Christmas Eve service at a little Methodist church in her neighborhood, and the tradition there was a particular woman of a long-standing church family always sung "O Holy Night." And over the years, her voice, of course, changed and was no longer the beautiful voice that everybody wanted. And then, of course, came that night when it was too embarrassing, and she was not asked to sing any longer. And it was a hard thing to do, and yet it was a tradition that people didn't want to let go of. And but music pulls on our strings in lots of different ways.
Brings back feelings,
it opens
memories.
your soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have another story for us.
And this third story is special. There's something special about this story.
Well, I'd say there are two things about it. I call it my favorite Christmas story. It's the first one that I actually wrote out. It was in the oral tradition of our family and friends for a long time. So it's my favorite Christmas story, and it's the first piece of mine that the New York Times published, and that was back in December of 2010. So it's got a lot of special reverberations.
What is this one called?
It's called "A String of Bulbs Was Our Guiding Star." We had no thought of being anywhere but in Denver for Christmas. But when our first child arrived in August, my wife Dot and I ordered a AAA triptych that led us through the snow-pocked plateaus of New Mexico and Arizona to California. After a visit to the Danish village of Solvang, famous for its Christmas splendor, we would drive up the coast to Sonoma County. North of the Golden Gate Bridge, we would show off our son Drew to my parents, brothers, and sisters, all of whom had long despaired that we would ever start a family. We had not been averse to having children. We loved kids, indulged the progeny of our friends, and fully intended to have several of our own. Just not right away. Our postponement stretched to 13 years as earning graduate degrees and launching careers consumed our attention. We relished the freedom of our weekends, the 2-day retreat from the grind to follow our whims, sleep in, explore new territory, try out Bon Appetit recipes on our friends, and simply revel in the delights of living together. But we were also intimidated. The task of taking on the responsibility of a new life, a 24/7 commitment, was daunting. Could we live up to our own high standards? Could we be worthy of such a trust? When we finally were able to put aside those fears and wholeheartedly embrace the challenge of parenting, we were reminded that we were not fully in charge of our strategic plan. A miscarriage intervened, compounding our worries and extending the delay. So when Drew finally arrived, safe and sound, defying the worries of his mid-30 parents, the euphoria that set in had to be shared across state lines. Packing for the road trip required some ingenuity, since the space-gulping paraphernalia of our 4-month-old had to fit into our toy-sized car, a yellow Volkswagen Bug. The car seat alone consumed most of the back seat, so diaper bags, collapsible stroller, and Christmas gift filled every conceivable niche, including the floor wells. Suitcases went under the front hood. At the urging of friends who knew our lack of winter travel experience in the West, we stashed a large candle, matches, and water in the rear window compartment, a safety precaution should we become marooned in the desolate stresses of the Southwest. We motored south on the interstate, talking up a storm, reveling in every gurgle from the newest member of the family, delighting in the ribbons of snow that skittered across the pavement. By mid-afternoon, I was ready for a change and asked Dot if she would take the wheel so I could read for a while. Popping a Dramamine pill to avoid motion sickness, I dove into my book. Not surprisingly, my drug of choice soon closed the curtain on my literary intentions. But before I drifted off, I asked Dot to rouse me when we were within striking distance of Albuquerque. Several hours later, I awoke with a start. Something was wrong. The sky was growing dark, and the sun was all wrong. It was setting to my right. It should have been setting in my face. Didn't we turn west at Albuquerque, I asked. No, Dot returned. I woke you up when I saw the signs, but you just grunted and went back to sleep, so I kept going.
Oh, no.
I had no idea where we were, just somewhere in the desert between Albuquerque and the Mexican border. It was almost dark. Snow was swirling in the headlights. The temperature had plummeted, and I could feel the muscle of the wind against the car. Then I noticed the gas gauge, and any hint of drowsiness evaporated. As though registering my final grade for a course in parental preparedness, the needle hovered on E. E for effort, E for empty. Consulting the map confirmed that it was unlikely that we were close to a town or gas station, and no one had passed us for some time. Nothing was in sight, only sagebrush and the distant mountains. The knowledge that we had emergency supplies offered little consolation. Where was the bidding star of Bethlehem, or the glow of GPS navigation devices when you needed them? We tried to keep panic at bay, but knew that we had put our baby at risk. I shuddered to think that back in Denver on the morning of his birth, I had been so fervent in my resolve to be a good dad. I had made promises to him when he was barely dry, as I walked and rocked him for over an hour while Dot wrestled out of the anesthesia. I nuzzled him, talked to him, sang to him, and made promises. A good life, a full life, red wagons, sleds, books, zoos, milk with graham crackers smeared with butter. I was a dad, after all. I had to make promises. Yet en route to his first Christmas tree, I was jeopardizing his life by defaulting on the most basic of parental duties, providing warmth and shelter. We took the first road that seemed to lead northwest and were rewarded a few miles later by flickers of light off to the west. We turned in their directions the first chance we got, hoping it meant that help was within reach, and arrived at a string of bare bulbs dangling over a barbed wire enclosure. Several trucks were parked inside the fence, each branded with white letters that read, Bureau of Indian Affairs. Beyond the security fence, we could see a dozen small cement block houses, a pickup in front of each. We were on the Laguna Indian Reservation. I pulled in beside the closest truck and stepped out into the snow. With that movement, I set off the village canine alarm system. Dogs began to growl. Dogs began to bark. Curtains parted and shadows peered out. The VW intruders had been spotted. Keeping an eye on the snarling sentinels, I knocked on the door of the nearest house and explained our plight. Was gas available nearby? A boy peeking through his slightly open door pointed to the house opposite his. I was retelling our story to the man who answered that door and had just said that my wife and baby were in the car when a woman shoved the man aside, opened the door fully, and demanded, "You have a baby in the car?" When I replied that I did, and his mother too, she commanded with an authority that was not to be denied, "Get them in the house right now. They'll freeze to death out there." As soon as the three of us felt the warmth of the house and introductions were made, our host offered to drive me in his Ford truck to the gas station at the reservation store several miles away. If we hurried, he urged, we could get there before it closed. He wasn't bashful with the gas pedal, and we were soon filling 2 5-gallon cans. On the way back, several pickups passed us at high speeds, one recklessly chasing another, horn blaring. My host solemnly explained that they were Laguna teenagers, and his son was probably among them, and they were surely drinking too. "Our kids are trapped here," he said. "They won't leave the reservation and get a good education because they would have to forgo their reparation checks if they left. It's a catch-22. My son and his friends waste their checks on cars, trucks, booze, and girls. I worry about their future." As he talked, I felt a kinship with him that would have eluded me 4 months earlier. He was a dad. I was a dad. We had children to worry about. When we arrived back at the house, I found Drew on a blanket in the living room floor, smiling contentedly at the children who were entertaining him in the light of a Christmas tree. Across the room, Dot was sitting at the kitchen table eating supper with our hostess. The woman rose and, pointing to a chair, again instructed me. "That's your place." She set plates of ham and scalloped potatoes in front of me and her husband, and the four of us dined and traded in a universal currency, stories about our kids. We stayed much too long at the table, but oases of kindness are difficult to leave. As we made our goodbyes, I was at a loss as to how I might say thank you without blundering and insulting them. So as I shook our host's hand, I gave him a $20 bill, saying that while we could not begin to repay him and his family for their kindness, we wanted to at least reimburse him for his gas. He took the money and thanked me with the grace of a career diplomat. Then he stepped towards Dot, who was holding Drew, and carefully tucked the money under his blanket and said, "I haven't had the chance to get your son a Christmas gift. Would you do it for me?" As we headed west into the darkness, we knew that we were the beneficiaries of much more than a tank of gas. You always make us cry.
I understand, though. I understand why this was your favorite story.
Yeah.
This is an incredible story because there was so much going on beyond, the Christmas spirit. You were a new dad, and there was so much going, and your wife was a new mom, and you were just living this together, and you realized when you fell asleep that there is no such thing. you can't do that.
Good point.
Not with kids. You cannot do that, especially in that circumstance. But the idea that you were so lucky to find these people and meet these people and share with these people and have them share with you it was an unbelievable thing. And that's where I know when people say they don't believe in God, I know that they're wrong, because that's where God exists, because that was a gift from God.
It was an incredible gift. When I told the story back in Denver and just expressed the amazement at the hospitality of these people, a man from the West politely reprimanded me and said, "You have every right to be amazed and grateful, but you shouldn't be surprised, because people in those parts of the West naturally look out for the other, We don't look out for each other in our urban settings. That was just a natural thing for them to do. And you experienced it as dramatic and unusual.
What a beautiful thing that is.
Indeed.
What I love about you, Andy, when you read us the stories,
You feel like you're there. Don't
yeah,
you?
like there was a video going on
me
in
too.
my brain, exact what you were talking. It's like, I was looking at you, but I was seeing everything happen. I saw the trucks. I saw the gate.
The color.
Yeah.
You could smell the air. You could smell the food. You could smell the ham and the scalloped potatoes. You could feel what was going on. It was the way you write is beautiful.
Yeah.
We are so grateful and appreciate
I
that
hope
you're
that,
here.
For many years you have given us copies of your stories, and I hope that
I love these three. We would like copies of these three. I love them.
Of course. My dream is someday to have a little book of them. There are 14 of them now.
Should.
I just finished up this year's Christmas story.
Oh, when you have your book, please sign them and send 2 copies
Oh, you
to
know
us.
I will. I know.
Yeah.
You know I will.
We
well, I
love
know
them.
we'll actually have you back on the show
Well,
again
of
when you
course.
put that book.
This
but
is tradition anyway.
it's our tradition.
This is tradition.
I
for
just
Trend
like your
Radio.
tradition.
You read your stories
This
on our
is-
show
this
every
is tradition.
Christmas.
And when you publish that book, it would be our pleasure to have you on and to discuss it. Absolutely.
Terrific.
I read some of Andy's stories at Christmas over my niece's house when we go there.
Yeah, you should read to Noah.
I do. I'm gonna. And Noah loves stories now.
Yes,
so
he loves to listen.
and not everybody at Dana's house wants to listen to me read,
But Noah does.
but the ones that do
But Noah,
enjoy your stories.
Noah is 2.5, and he loves his big Uncle Anthony. And so that'd be perfect for bonding time with Noah.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
Oh, wow. This
Well,
was
say hi
fabulous.
to Dana back at the salon as well as Ray. Give
Yes.
them my best.
Oh,
we
we will tell
absolutely
everybody.
will. Yes.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us
And
today.
Andy, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
Happy and healthy.
Look
Thank
forward to
you.
seeing you in 2016.
You
Yes.
absolutely will.
I'm Anthony Vincent of Anthony Vincent Salon. Time for another fun and fabulous beauty tip with our tip chick. And here she is.
Got dry and brittle? Squeeze a little protein pomade into that parched mane. Say hello to beautiful.
Want your beauty question answered on the air? Email us now from AnthonyVincentSalon.com. Remember, for the 150,000 hairs on your head, there's only one choice. Call us now at 609-448-2212. You'll be glad you did.
Is there anything in particular, though, that you want to open next week for Christmas?
Nothing in particular. I have everything that I could need and want. Anything else would just be another blessing. But my biggest blessing is being able to do this show with you and Mike, having you as our producer.
Yeah, you're pretty
to make
awesome.
us sound good.
Thank you very much.
You do make us
Otherwise, we'd
sound
be
so
like,
good.
blah, blah, blah.
Well, you guys are one of the first shows I've ever gotten to truly produce, so it's nice to, be welcomed in by, warm hearts here.
This room is filled with love.
Absolutely.
You've been listening to Trend Radio, where we talk about what's hot every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. You want more? Go right to our website, 920thevoice.com. Click on demand and scroll down directly to us.
And if you have a topic of interest that you want us to discuss, or you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us now at trendradio920@gmail.com. You'll be glad you did.
And remember, your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card.
But how you make people feel, well, that becomes your trademark.
I'm Anthony Vincent.
And I'm Elise.
We'll talk to you next week.
Bye for now, and
Merry
happy
Christmas, everybody.
Holiday season. So much right and so much reason to be thankful for the best believing. Spread the love of Christmas wreaths. I think about when I came up from nothing, struggling, busting my head open just to ease the suffering. I recognize the pain of others. I made it right to help another, yeah. When I think of my favorite time of year, I resort in giving it Christmas cheer. Nowadays it's not so simple. If it were, it'd be part of a Christmas principle. Inhale for the good times, yeah. Exhale for the bad times, yeah. Everybody's struggling with something. Give back to the needy and the hungry. So get up, yeah, when you fall. out for one and one for all. What's the point of all this fighting? Enjoy living, enjoy life, yeah. Come on. Let the light inside of you shine bright for all to see. Change the world for better starts with you and me. Jingle bells are ringing for all the world to hear. Let the season spirit last all throughout the year. So you wanna buy that? Check in your bank, can't supply that. No food in the house, no room on the couch. Let me step back, breathe in and relax like one day it'll all be worth it. Help a healing hand that's deserving. Cause I know in my heart, in my blood, in my soul, I was meant to do good, at least I was told. I don't know, I couldn't tell, but I understand now. What's the song to a poem? Let's all find out. I flew, I've flown, I go, I'm gone. To the point where no one has returned. It's not giving yet, it's earned. Appreciate the life we got, the things we earned, the lessons taught now. Yeah, hey, happy holidays. Now I'ma let the chorus say, come on. Let the light inside of you shine bright for all to see. Yeah. Change the world for better starts with you and me. Do it. Jingle bells are ringing for all the world to hear. Yeah. Let the season spirit last all throughout the year. Holiday season, holiday season, holiday season. Spread the love of Christmas cheer. Love and laughter is the remedy. Inside you, take me where my heart will lead. The magic's real, we can share it with each other. A helping hand, love your sister and your brother. Let the light inside of you shine bright for all to see. Change the world for better starts with you and me. Jingle bells are ringing for all the world to hear. Let the season spirit last all throughout the year. All around the world. Spread the love of Christmas cheer. All around the world. Spread the love of Christmas cheer. Spread the love of Christmas cheer. Spread the love of Christmas cheer.